this sound check, what's up? Alright, I kind of want to make a talk video this time, so where should I start? Okay, several people who are close to me are already aware of this, but I'm traveling to Canada this year around the end of May. I have some plans aligned with some 2DX players from the West. My trip to Canada won't be long. I think it's 2 days. Right after that, I'm flying to California and we'll be staying there for around 2 weeks. Hopefully, I'll get to capture enough content and share them once I get back to Japan. Yeah. So for the meantime, I think I'll be unlisting some of my current videos that I feel like are lacking in quality. It's really just a stupid reason, but I don't know. I just want to keep the channel organized. My primary goal in the beginning when I started to become active in creating content for the BeMani community was to just share some of the thoughts that I felt like needed to be heard. Taisuke, the guy that I usually record videos with, has had his fair share of strong opinions, and I've always been open to hear, not just his, but also everyone's thoughts through Discord, basically. I feel like the 2DX community isn't that huge to begin with. Well, compared to some of the more popular titles that you can basically search up on Twitch's front page. And I've had discussion regarding the future of BeMani, or rather BeMani 2DX in particular, with Taisuke and some other people. From a personal standpoint, I can't really see this game suddenly exploding in popularity, or at least just growing significantly. And I mean, if I want to be just straight up honest, this game will probably remain niche, just like it has always been for a majority of, its lifespan. However, I do believe that this game is underappreciated. You could blame the project managers and representatives, but nothing really is going to change unless someone with power and is also someone who happens to be up to date with gaming and marketing strategies steps in to do what needs to be done. I've been in Japan for quite a long time and this is pretty much my field, which kind of makes me want to cover this more in detail sometime in the future. Well, but this time I'd like to just talk about some general stuff. So, let's see. I've actually legit never been to America. I mean, except for transit. I spent the majority of my life around Asia and also Dominican Republic because that's where I was born. Coincidentally, it's a long story, pretty personal. I'm not gonna go into detail about that, but I've always admired how long the Western community veterans had dedicated themselves to the game despite being in such an underdeveloped infrastructure regarding BeMani, online connectivity and, legit access. So really, no matter where you're currently at, your skill level, how you play, you receive maximum respect from me if you're, if you receive maximum respect from me if you've been sticking around since the CS days. I really admire that kind of dedication. I can't even enjoy this game for that long, and really, the only thing that has pushed me to play 2DX for over the past 3 years has been the awesome people I've met throughout my career. So, I started back in Pendle, pretty much a new gym player. Considered a new gym player, I guess. Although, I recall the first time that I've ever saw a 2DX machine was back when I was making Jubeat and Reflect Beat. I believe the cab was running Serious, well, up-to-date Serious in Taiwan. It was during my high school days where I would just head straight to arcade afternoon every day, after school. I got really decent at Jubeat and especially Reflect Beat back then. Everyone who was decent at BeMani would always gather around in Hypergamer. It's an arcade in Taiwan, but it wasn't really called Hypergamer back then. It was called Hypergamer after, they renewed the whole place. It was shut down for like 2 months or something, just to like rebuild and redecorate, the insides. Yeah, it all started when I began to attend university in Japan, where I realized that I'm suddenly living in a complete different environment where I didn't understand the language, Japanese, because I never studied it prior to getting accepted to one of the most prestigious universities in Japan. I've had my reasons to choose to pursue my international business and economics studies in Japan, but it's a really long story. I might share it if people are curious about it, in a separate video. So basically back to my BeMani career. So up to that point, I've only been involved in the local Taiwanese community. So being in Japan was a complete new start, basically a whole new experience. I kept on playing Jubeat and Reflect Beat like I've always done, and also tried Sound Voltic's booth, which was really new back then. It was during a time when Sound Voltic's cabs only existed in Japan, like none other countries actually had it, not even Korea. So Well, as I stayed in Japan for the first... after like a month passed when I stayed in Japan, I find myself not playing games for that long, and my sessions would just keep on getting shorter and shorter. I realized that I didn't really truly love playing the game, but rather I liked playing the game with others. At least I felt that when I played Be My Games alone. It's not the same experience playing alone in front of a PC where, you know, you interact with people online and you're actually not face to face. Being in an arcade and, you know, a public area where people, well, strangers are all the way, like, you know, around you, and you just really don't talk to them even though you obviously share the same interests, is kind of a weird experience to me. Back in Taiwan, everyone just talked to each other, be really friendly and approachable, but, you know, later on I realized, yeah, this is Japan, the community is like this, the culture is like this, the people are like this. Can't really help it. So a lot of things didn't feel right when I initially went to Japan for B-Money, which was, back then, was my primary source of entertainment actually. Well, despite that, I still like heading to the arcade because I've been doing that for, you know, many years back in Taiwan. And I eventually found myself bored enough, you know, to step onto the base platform of 2DX, and that's where it all started.